to College Eats Beyond Ramen. I'm Abby Rosenblum.
And I'm Emily Danckers.
And today we're going to have our first episode and we're going to show you guys how to make chocolate chip banana bread 2 different ways, in the oven and also in the microwave, so you can make it in your dorm.
Yeah, so this being our first episode, we're going to show you how we can make things in an apartment or even in a dorm that are delicious and nutritious.
Perfect. So to start with, we're going to start with the oven recipe, and you just need 2 bananas. Usually you want ones that are brown like this. Even though they look gross, these are the ones that make the best bread.
True.
So we'll just start by mashing up 2 of these.
Help you out. And what's great about bananas, if you have a meal plan, you can just take bananas to go. We always do that after we eat lunch or dinner. We'll just grab a bunch of bananas and take them back to our dorm or our apartment on South.
And you can really mash them with anything. We're using this potato masher here, but you can also use a spoon, a fork, really anything to mash them up.
And so with bananas, I'm a nutrition major, so I know a little bit about the health benefits of bananas. As I'm sure you know, bananas have a lot of potassium in them, which is important for everyday bodily functions for you to be healthy. And they also have a lot of calories, which is energy. And it keeps you, it's a great snack to have in the middle of the day. And we also found out that there's tryptophan in bananas, just like in your Thanksgiving turkey, which it puts you to sleep, but it also is a great mood booster, or it's great to have a banana right before bed.
Exactly, yeah. I thought that was so weird there was tryptophan in bananas.
This recipe calls for egg whites instead of regular eggs, which is also very healthy because there's hardly any fat in egg whites, and so we're adding 2 egg whites, which is about 1/3 of a cup.
Yeah, this whole recipe has virtually no fat except for the chocolate chips that we decided to add because chocolate chips make everything better.
And also, instead of oil, we add applesauce, which keeps the banana bread moist without any fat. It's a great substitute for oil or butter in any recipe. You just add, instead of 1/4 a cup of oil, you just add 1/4 a cup of applesauce.
And even with butter, if you have to use a 1/2 cup of butter in a recipe, you can just put straight 1/2 cup of applesauce.
And so, although this is a healthier recipe, it's not completely healthy because it is banana bread. So we are adding a 1/3, 1/4 cup of sugar. There's 1/2 a cup. And 1/4 a cup. Just mixing it all together.
And then I also think whenever you're baking anything, it's important to know to add all your wet ingredients and then your dry ingredients. So the bananas and the applesauce and the eggs and the sugar, and then after that you'll do baking powder, baking soda, and flour.
Yep, so right now we're just adding 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. Let's do that. And here is 1½ Next, we have cinnamon, which adds a nice flavor to the banana bread. We just add 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon.
And even with the cinnamon, you don't even have to measure it out if you really don't want to.
True.
Usually when we're cooking, we just kind of dump it in there.
Yeah. And finally, we add 1½ cup of flour. Today we'll be using regular, just white bleached flour, but if you want to be real healthy, you can add whole wheat flour. It does change the taste a bit, but not too bad. And it's worth it if you're being healthier. So that was 1, and another 1/2 cup. And as you can see, it's really simple. It's things that most people have in any kitchen, ingredients. We just throw it together whenever you feel like having banana bread.
Exactly, and I always feel like I buy so many bananas at the store and they go bad, and then I'm like, what do I do with them? So we're just going to finish mixing this up and put it right in the pan and cook it for 30 minutes in the oven. and we set ours to 350.
And it doesn't have to be exactly 30 minutes. You just kind of, whenever it starts smelling good, you check it every so often. And a way to tell if banana bread is really done, it'll turn brown on the top. And sometimes when you stick a fork into it and pull it out, it'll come out clean, like a cake. And that's when you know that it's ready to come out of the oven.
And then you also want to make sure that you put enough oil in your pan so it doesn't stick in there also.
Exactly. So I will just take this over to the oven.
While we're waiting, we're going to show you guys a different way that you can make banana bread. If you don't have an oven or access to an oven, then you can also make banana bread in a microwave.
In a mug. And you just mix everything together in the mug. So if you live in a dorm, like we lived in Sadler our freshman year, and I know I missed cooking so much, but you can't really do dishes, you can't really cook that much, but if you have a microwave and a mug and these ingredients, you can do pretty much anything.
Exactly. It would have made our lives so much easier, not living on dining hall food and everything.
So this recipe calls for just one banana, so we'll start by mashing this.
So this is nice if you just want to make a little individual banana bread for yourself and you don't want to make a whole loaf, because I know if I make a whole loaf, I'll probably eat the entire thing.
It's happened a lot.
And this recipe also is not as low fat as the last one, but we figured since it's just an individual serving, you can indulge a little bit.
Alright, so there's our banana. Now we'll add 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of sugar.
And so also 1 egg too.
Yeah, so it is a little bit of sugar, but you get most of your sugar from the banana, which is obviously sugar from a fruit. It's much better for you than just white sugar. There's that. Alright, so then we'll add 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, which is so small. So these, again, are all of our wet ingredients going first. So now for our dry ingredients, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, which is really just a pinch. So I'm just going to do a pinch of salt in there.
Yeah, with these really small portions, you can just estimate. And it's really just cutting down from the larger recipe. So you could really take any large recipe you want, and if you just cut everything in a half or a quarter, then you could pretty much make it in a mug.
Alright, 1/8 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda. Just mixing it all up in the mug. And then 1 tablespoon of milk. And we use 2%, so it's reduced fat milk.
But you can pretty much use whatever type of milk you prefer. It'll all work.
Or whatever you have on hand. And then finally, 3 tablespoons of flour, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for our small mug recipe, it's just enough. Alright, so more and more.
And this only takes about 3 minutes in the microwave, and it may be even shorter, so
Depending on what kind of microwave you have, or even longer, because I know last year our microwaves weren't that good, so kind of had to play it by ear, but
alright, so yeah, mix it all up, and then we'll just put it in the microwave right here. Do 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Alright, so we're going to take this out of the microwave now.
it's going to be hot, so
Yeah, so be careful when you're taking it out.
so it doesn't look as pretty as as an oven-made banana bread, but we'll see if it tastes as good.
Yeah, it works if you're in a dorm and
Yeah,
you just want something a little more home cooked.
it'll probably be pretty hot. And also, like our other banana bread, you can add whatever you want to this. You can add chocolate chips, you can add more cinnamon. How is
Really
it?
good. It's pretty good.
Mmm, it's delicious. Nice.
Alright, so there's how you make banana bread in a mug. And we're just waiting on the banana bread in the oven, and we'll show you guys that in a little bit.
So it's been about 30 minutes. I can smell the banana bread, so I think we're gonna go ahead and check it and see if it's ready to eat.
All right,
Pull out of the
let's
oven.
see. That looks definitely done.
Ooh, nice.
Alright, so we'll just try our fork trick we were talking about earlier, where you stick a fork just right in the middle of the bread. And it comes out like, there's a little chocolate on it there, but that's okay because it's melted. You can see that it's done.
That looks good.
Great. Well, we just let that cool for a few minutes and then we'll be ready to eat.
Thank you for joining us for our first episode of College Eats Beyond Ramen.
And watch us next week for more great recipes.
Let's try it.